by services. After listening to different presentations and opinions since yesterday till today, I have actually want to add few things onto some of those presentations. It is related to transhumans. Transhumans, yes, they exist and they are on the increase. But another movement is taking place in this country that we don't consider as transhumans. There is trade from Lumos in Senegal, which takes through our forests to another secondary markets in the country before they finally transfer to the terminal markets. We have realized this as a department because we have actually mapped all, we call them risk spots in health, veterinary services. We have marked all the border posts, both officially and non-official border posts. Most of these unofficial border posts are actually links to these transhuman corridors or routes. Or they pass through the villages to the forest, then directly to the secondary markets, weekly markets called the Lumos. This can also cause some damages on the ecosystem. And if you look at the number of animals coming, it doesn't limit to only ruminant animals. Even the equines are also coming into the country. And most of the time they use these forests down to where they want to take them. And it is very significant to be able to note those things also. I thank you. That's just an addition.
Thank you very much for bringing up that aspect that have not been mentioned since yesterday. It's very, very much important that they does not limit the transhuman to only those herdsmen or small ruminant farmers who move their livestock from one region to the other. But weekly markets is prevalent in the country. Almost every day, you know it or not, apart from Juma, I think nearly every day is Lumo. And most of these Lumos, they have these small ruminants. They have cattle, they have horses and donkeys. But parading our buses, our forests, scavenging on limited little resources that are available. So that's also another important aspect that definitely need to be captured in the report. Yes, any other who wants to add something? Ask a question, make a comment, contribution, before we move to the next level, next thing. Okay, sir, I'm seeing a hand up there. Well, anything general. Yeah, anything, yeah.
Okay, I want to...
Your name and your institution.
My name is Mauro Jallo, DD, Department of Parks and Wildlife Management. My contribution into transgender, we need to look at first the root cause, why it is happening now, before it was not happening. Secondly, we need to diversify it. We cannot concentrate only on livestock. We need to consider wildlife too, because these two, they work together. Due to the fragmentation of our habitats, the movement of wildlife have to cause a lot of damages to our crop, because we have tampered with their habitat and the tracks going to their feeding ground. It happens on hippos, it happens on western baboons. And then in our laws, before, the Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources is one. All the sister departments included, they know each other's strategies and policies. But now that is not happening. So there is a lot of overlaps of legislations, policies, and orders. If someone is saying it's good, the other party will say it's not good. When we do harmonization and strengthening of our existing legislation to review it, obviously we can find an easy solution to be able to address this issue. But without that, And some of our corrections, the way we set it, sometimes also affected our work. You know, anything you want, it doesn't last. It will start. Everybody will have ambition, but at the end of the day, it will collapse. But what we should look at is what we need. How do we need to make sure that transhumans is stopped or minimized? Because to stop it now is going to be very difficult. But what we can do, we can minimize it. And then law enforcement also, if you look at the policy document of all these institutions, which of these institutions is definitely addressing transhuman? If it is there, then it's skeleton or dormant. So things need to be looked at. And when we want to harmonize, we have to put our policies down, we look at them, strengthening it and harmonize the institutional policy to make sure that we minimize transhuman. But I believe it cannot be eradicated because the ecological structure of the Gambia is already affected. And there's a lot of fragmentation everywhere. People are now cultivating on the animal tracks. And they have to use that to go to their feeding ground. Some people are now even using a settlement, a feeding ground for a settlement. So it's going to be difficult to eradicate everything, but I believe we can able to minimize it when we speak one language and give due to each other's legislation. Obviously, we can able to minimize it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Human development as against livestock management. Sometimes it's complicated. Any other addition, contribution, comment, question before? Okay, the PM, the floor is yours.
A very good thank you to all the contributors. This is what we want. We want to start a conversation. It's not going to be the end of it. And I'm pretty sure by the time we've moved maybe a few months or perhaps a year from now, at least we will have good ideas that can be used as part of our natural resource management policy making. Really, it's about that. I think EBA's main function for now is to let people know, let the government, let almost every one of us, all the stakeholders know where we are in terms of our status, in terms of natural resource levels, what are the challenges, because a lot of money, as we said, is already going into this restoration process. A lot of money is being spent yearly. So in order to really get to a point where we are all proud of the results, we've got to let each other know where these issues are. Some of the major problems are already clearly stated in that we have natural challenges that we can't easily overcome. Okay, this is not totally natural, but it has been around long enough. Transhumans as a practice, free-range livestock management as a practice have been around much longer than, at least a century or so. And the reason is that the resource base at the time made it possible. Now, things have changed. We said climate has changed. We said population has changed. Economics have changed. So when we get to this point now, it is upon us to really start looking at how we are going to address for the future. And I think this is all about that. And I once again, I say, let us not be so kind to ourselves or unkind in terms of holding back. We want everyone to really come out as much as possible so that we can hear all the divergent views, and hopefully we will come to an agreement, or at least a position where we can move forward in terms of letting government know what can be done to make it really successful in terms of managing livestock. Nobody is going to eliminate livestock. After all, I mean, if you do, we don't know how to really be vegetarians. in the world. I mean, really, we don't. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much, PM. I think I'll pick up from here. Okay, I'm seeing Chief wants me to hand in the mic. Okay, after Chief, then we just have to hold on.
Assalamu alaikum.
And we continue.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon to everybody. Once again, we are saying we should go by Henry Gomez's slogan that Mbe Balu. Mbe Balu.
Mbe Balu. Okay.
We have been coexisting with this animal since time immemorial. And that same system should continue. These animals are of great value to us in all aspects. That's why it is said we regard it as a wealth. If you have any occasion, you need an animal. So why not we emulate what our great-grandfathers, our grandfathers and our fathers have been doing?
Sorry, Chief. Hello. Please, session is on. Please, when you are coming in, minimize your voice. Session is in progress. Please, come back and sit. Have your seats, please, so that we can continue. Thank you.
One speaker there said, anything of benefit should be guarded. The herdsman should take care of his cattle. The farmer should take care of his farm or garden. If you are there always, ruminants which are straying will not have much chance to damage your farm or garden. The fact of the matter is there is not much land for grazing now. But at the same time, if the herdsman is there, it's always controlled. I am advocating for the Gynako Association to engage the Jargas and compel them to go back to the normal herding of their cattle during the dry season. Grain season is not a problem, they go after them. But the dry season, in most areas now, they do not go after them. After milking in the morning, they just release them, escort them to the bush or swamps, and then they come back. Like in our village, we have a garden. About April, whether the crop, at any stage the crops are, the animals will come and invade the garden, whether they are there or not, especially the women. Because they see the green plants. So there is no way they can control them. If they were with a herdsman, he can control them. So I think it's time for us to go back to the old system of taking care of this cattle at all times. It's important and it should be done for the best interest of the coexistence of both farmers and cattle owners. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, concerning this Walankes.
Walankes, okay.
The Walankes are after their interest, but they very rarely offend. We accuse them a lot, but most of what they are accused of is done by us. Honestly speaking, I am not taking sides. Right now, some people are getting ready because the Walankes are on their way. The moment the Walankes come, time to time you hear a sheep have been stolen. Honestly, most of the time it's not the Walankes. Believe me, there are some Walankes. They know each other. The moment these Nurenabes come to their area, they stay away. If they arrive today, tomorrow morning they are vacating. Because they don't want them to stain them. They are habitual thieves. Even in Senegal, they thief their animals, which is very rare. That's why somebody with even 10 sheep, goats, or cows is always with them day and night. Why not we do the same? Accusing the Walanges will not solve the problem. Let us take care of our own animals. The security cannot do much on this Walanges. No. They are bushmen. So who should control them? We, the local authorities, the farmers, the jargas, because the police, the immigration have no means of going to the bush. But together, we can do it. As I said earlier, if a Walanke comes to your village, you are the landlord. If you are the alkali, okay, come to the chief. If you are not an alkali, approach the alkali. Together you come with the man to the chief. We'll invite the other stakeholders. We take care. What we said was, if possible, we photocopy the individual's ID card. If that is not possible, we take numbers, original address, yes, and all that, and then we will brief the individual what we want and what we do not want. They will respect it. And if they do not, put them before the courts. The law will take its course. But as some are recommending to stop them, we are very, very much interrelated with Senegal. Like in our village, during the rains, 90% of all herdsmen take their cattle into the Senegal. If you control them, they will control us. So we are benefiting, they are benefiting. The best thing is let us take care of our side, and then we can coexist. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief, for that brilliant adjustment. Let's give him a round of applause once again. Right, he definitely mentioned some very important part, especially the Walankes. If they pass through any community, most of the time you hear is a local livestock gets lost. How does it happen? It's not always them, but it's about some of the, how they call it, thieves or bad criminals in our communities who capitalize on such and then benefit from such. Yes, I give you 1 minute, please.
Okay, I am going to add a little bit. That is some of these that we are talking about transhuman. If you look at it, the entirely is caused by ourselves, especially the internal one. There are some areas in the Gambia before, during our childhood, people don't sell hay. They will leave it at the farmland when they do after the trading season. So the rest have to come home and the animal will feed on it. And the animal will not go beyond the backyards. But now it's happening. That problem caused by ourselves. That's one. Two, before people organize themselves between communities and do early control boarding after the trading season, immediately after the trading season. But now that is not happening. Because people don't care about the environment. People don't care about their wildlife unless when the need arises, which doesn't tell well. So we have to put ourselves together and find the root cause, look at the problems, and then go for the solution. But selling of haze, when it is not minimized, knows that our wildlife population will go to the wildlife area. And as long as they have the disease of wildlife, they will never survive, they will die. Because in the Gambia, I don't think we even have a wildlife veterinarian. We only depend on livestock. So this is my additional contribution.
Thank you very much for that adjustment. I will draw the curtain on that, so we move on to the next activity. We have just 2 more activities left. We have a resolution that we want to look at. It's not a final one until when we together accept and endorse it. And any other suggestion that we think is missing in it, we just add it and come up with a final solution, for final one. The resolution is more or less going to be part of the roadmap, and that's why we are here. So let's look at it together. It reads, the Banjul Multi-Sectoral Integrated Livestock Management Resolution. Exactly. So this document is very much important. We should all be attentive. That is more or less the reason why we are here since yesterday. After going through, if there is any spot that you don't agree, should be part of the resolution, please, you can show up your hand. You justify why you think it's not necessary. Right? Or if we agree, we can move on. Until when we are done, we should collectively endorse the resolution to say, okay, we are good with it. Or, okay, we think something is missing. This should be added or so. Or this should be removed so that we can come up with a finalized version. The introductory part of it is about the project, which was done yesterday by the project manager. We don't have to go into that to save time. It begins. The Banjul Multi-Sectoral Integrated Livestock Management Resolution, building a sustainable livestock management complementing ecosystem restoration on and off farms. Banjul, 19th November 2021. Preamble. We, the people of the Gambia, drawn from different sectors, groups and communities, and institutions, held a two-day congress on the 18th and the 19th November 2021 in Banjul to discuss on strategies for healthy and sustainable livestock management in agricultural and forestry landscapes for a healthy, resilient, prosperous and sustainable agricultural and natural resource-based economy in the Gambia. And resolve as follows. We need the high dependency of livestock owners on livestock for their livelihood. Do we agree on that? I repeat, we note the high dependency of livestock owners on livestock for their livelihood. Okay, all right, great. We move on. We appreciate the fundamental role that livestock play in promoting socio-economic and environmental sustainability in the Gambia. We recognize and acknowledge that there is a great opportunity to improve on livestock management to make it less destructive and complementary to other economic activities such as agriculture, forestry, nature-based enterprises, etc., and also make it more effective in restoring the functionality of ecosystems. We recall the essential role that Gambian landscapes provide for transhumanant communities coming from neighboring countries in search of food, in search of feed and water. We further recognize the essential role that individuals, households, public and private sector institutions could play in the process of national development through sustainable crops, tree and forest management. We recognize the significant decline in tree cover in our country over the years due to livestock-related activities. We therefore seek to pass a resolution to improve livestock management in rural landscapes of the Gambia for healthy, resilient, and effective ecosystem restoration efforts. We call upon the public to refer to this document as the Banjul Multi-Sectoral Integrated Livestock Management Resolution. Actionable resolutions. We seek to achieve the goal of improving domestic and transhumanant livestock management through the following approaches. 1. Promote multi-sectoral approach to livestock management in the landscape of the Gambia. Subsection 1, we encourage the government to revisit the ECOWAS protocols on livestock movement between countries such that the protocol includes management interventions to reduce the impacts of such movements. Section 2, we further encourage the national government to set up a national multi-sectoral task force to develop a clear protocol to accommodate the concerns of all sectors associated with livestock sectors. Subsection 3, we urged the national multi-sectoral task force to design operational management protocols that address the growing concerns of uncontrolled livestock movement on ecosystem restoration and agricultural systems. 1 subsection 4, we call upon the national and local governments and other parties engaged in livestock matters to devise spatial management strategies that reduce impacts of the sector on rural and urban ecosystem restoration efforts. 1 subsection 5, we encourage, enhance the collaboration among the various stakeholders at the border to regulate transhumanant activities. Section 2 reads, encourage domestic transhumanant herders to follow allowable grazing routes and respect local tree management practices. Paragraph 1 of section 2. We call upon the national and local government and other parties to demarcate, map, and respect the stock routes used for livestock movement. Paragraph 2, we call upon domestic transhumanant herders to comply with local grazing routes at all places irrespective of presence of forest guards or rangers. Paragraph 3, we urge local communities to report to relevant authorities with immediate effect any violations of grazing routes and further encouragements. If no measures is taken, communities may take necessary and commensurate actions to protect their environment as per the law. Paragraph 4, we urged local communities to peacefully coexist with the domestic transhumanant herders. 5, we urge local communities to handle their livestock so that they do not damage anyone's property in the proximity due to lack of protection. Section 3, put in place a proper regulatory and awareness creation structures for cross-border transhumanant herders. Paragraph 1, we urge the national government, regional bodies, and local governments to design and advocate for sustainable and manageable livestock movement across borders. Paragraph 2, sir? Okay. 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 We all go through together. Okay. All right, doctor, how about that? We project. Yes. Okay. Right. Agreed. Right. Okay. We just trying to save time though. It's okay. Yeah, indeed. Agreed. Do we have the soft copy, please? Okay. You need a flash? Okay, you have one. Okay. If you project it, I think it's better. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, let's project it. Yeah. Put the jack. Yeah, we're on section 3 now. You don't have to redo it, no, sir. You just continue, right? Okay. Okay. I'll just enlarge it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, more. Increase the size. More? Is it possible to add? Okay, is it readable? Is it readable? Okay. Where is the pointer? Okay. Okay. Is that the pointer?
Yeah, that's the point.
This one?
Yes.
This slide.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go through it again one more time. This is the first point in the resolution. Promote multi-sectoral approaches to livestock management in the landscape of the Gambia. One, we encourage the government to revisit the ECOWAS protocol on livestock movement between countries such that the protocol includes management interventions to reduce the impact of such movements. Yeah, okay, try to increase the space a little bit. Yeah. Just no, he knows. You're saying you are the size. Yeah. Yeah. One more time. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just move it a little bit in the center. Okay. Okay. Okay, we continue. 1 of 2, we further encourage the national government to set up a national multi-sectoral task force to develop a clear protocol to accommodate the concerns of all sectors associated with livestock sector. 1 of 3, we urged the national multi-sectoral task force to design operational management protocols that address the growing concerns of uncontrolled livestock movement on ecosystem restoration and agricultural systems. 1 of 4, we call upon the national and local governments and other parties engaged in livestock matters to devise special management strategies that reduce impacts of the sector on rural and urban ecosystem restoration efforts. 2, encourage domestic transhumanant herders to follow allowable grazing routes and respect local tree management practices that are already in place. 2 of 1, we call upon the national and local governments and other parties to demarcate, map, and respect the stock routes used for livestock movements. 2 of 2, we call upon the domestic transhumanant herders to comply with local grazing routes at all places, irrespective of presence of forest guards or rangers. 2 of 3, we urge local communities to report to relevant authorities with the immediate effect any violation of grazing routes and further encouragements. If no measures is taken, communities may take necessary and commensurate actions to protect their environment as per the law. 2 of 4, we urge local communities to peacefully coexist with the domestic transhumanant herders. 2 of 5, we urge local communities to handle their livestock such that they do not damage anyone's property in the proximity due to lack of protection. Yes, sir. Can someone help me pass the mic? Mm-hmm.
For the maintenance of those stock routes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think let's just go through. Probably we might come across that. Yeah. Where do we stop? No, 5, huh? Okay. No, come down to 3. Okay. Okay. I think let's go ahead. Probably we might come across it in the document. 3. Put in place a proper regulatory and awareness creation structures for cross-border transhumant herders. 3 of 1, we urge the national government, regional bodies and local governments to design and advocate for sustainable and manageable livestock movement across borders. 3 of 2, we call upon the immigration authorities at the borders to have a proper registry of livestock and herders moving in and out of the country. Is the officer here? 3 of 3, we urge the chiefs, alikalos, and local communities to monitor the movement of livestock that come into their territory to minimize damage. So therefore you should be aware that they are coming in and when they are living through the same. 3 of 4, we urge the movement to set up briefing or awareness creation post for the cross-border herders to be briefed about local ecosystems and management regulations. 3 of 6, we urge the cross-border transhumant people to refrain from harming the environment except nurturing their herds by following allowable routes prepared for this purpose. 3 of 7, we urge the government to set up early warning systems that address local needs to address climate change and variability issues affecting livestock. Sir? Okay? So we should add something there. We call upon the immigration authorities and other stakeholders. Okay, let's take it one at a time, please. Use the mic. Where's the mic? Can someone help me take the mic around? Mr. Dumbuya, I'll bother you a little bit. Please, can you pass the mic for me? Dumbuya, come. Please. Is it on? The mic? No, there's one there already. Okay. Technicians, where are you? We need both mics. Okay.
So what I'm saying is, the immigration, he rightly mentioned that their role is for the human, that is the personnel, herders. But with the animals, registering them will have to go for the Department of Livestock Services. I think that's what I wanted to say. Yes, they have the expertise, and I think there is somebody from the Department of Livestock Services who can come in.
Okay, let's agree and disagree on that. Huh?
Yes.
Agree to disagree.
Sir, I have a contrary view to that particular statement.
Okay.
Looking at the nature of entry of transhuman herds into the country, they don't come through official border posts in this country.
Yeah.
I told you before that we have mapped all the border posts in this country. They enter through unofficial border posts in this country.
Right.
So it's going to be difficult for immigration officers to see these herders coming into the country.
Right. So that's a challenge.
We can coin it. We can paraphrase it to meet what we want to say.
That's right. But however, we need to come up with something that will definitely be able to. Yes, give it to him, please.
I think it's still okay. The statement is okay.
You are the chair on the floor, so whoever you want, you can give it to.
The immigration is important, and other stakeholders is important. So when you say other stakeholders, it also includes local authorities. The chiefs are here.
Right.
No matter which border they take to come into the country, they still go into a chief land.
That's right.
Or alcalo land.
Right.
And the alcalo must be aware of it. So it's the alcalo, the DLS, immigration, you take this registry.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I think that's fine. We just say immigration authorities and other stakeholders. The other stakeholders we know now, that's open. Right?
Other relevant stakeholders.
Okay, other relevant stakeholders. But who are the relevant ones and who are not the relevant ones? Go to Mike. Okay. Other relevant stakeholders, alcalos and chiefs.
Hello? One important one is other stakeholders, livestock department. It has to be stated out. And when you look at the official borders, they are different from other porous borders where these livestock enter. But for example, like horses and donkeys, you see large number of them passing through the immigration borders. But the most important thing is that the official borders, there should be a livestock assistant or livestock officer stationed there. When these people look at the papers of these people coming with the animals, sometimes it's not even ruminants, but horses and donkeys. You see the large number, they use the official borders. So it is very important for a livestock officer to be there to check the veterinary, the vaccination papers, any veterinary document from the origin of that particular animal, where they are coming, and look at them. If they have been vaccinated against certain disease, or it is from the officer veterinary in charge of that region, and look at them. When the veterinary officer is satisfied and the custom people also are satisfied, they can allow them to enter. But most of the time, it's the custom, the immigration and the police who are normally at these official borders.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think relevant stakeholders take care of that, right? So thank you very much for that. Yes, Chief, you want to say something? Yes. Please, a minute.
In my view, the most important stakeholder is the Village Development Committee.
VDCs.
The VDCs.
Perfect.
We are the local authorities. But they are the grassroots.
Right.
Most of them are in the bush most of the time. So they are the people who encounter these transhumans. So the best people to control them or to give us information is the VDC, the alcalde.
Right.
Because anyone going to the bush, meeting them after being briefed, as I intend to do, immediately from here, I'll gather all my alkalulu and brief them about this issue. Let them discuss with their VDCs and then tell them of the importance that government is concerned, and then they should give information to all transhumans coming into the Gambia.
Right.
I think with this, we will get a solution. Thank you.
Let's give a round of applause to the Chief for that, for wanting to take action and inform his Alikalolu of the recent development on this transhuman issue. Pass the mic to the okay, Honorable is down at your right. Okay. Honorable is over there. 3 point?
Yes.
No. 3.2. Go up.
No, what I've seen here.
Oh, okay.
No, let it come. Bring it down. Down. The one I've seen is all the chiefs and the alcalde.
3.2, huh?
Yes.
No, which one?
No, it's here. 3.3.
3.3. Perfect. Yes. Exactly. You know, actually, let us be very attentive. If we do, some points have already been taken care of. Right? Point 3 says we urge the chiefs, alcalos, and local communities. That includes the VDCs, right? Yeah, to monitor the movement of livestock that come into their territory to minimize damage. Yeah, let's give each other a chance. Probably we'll be able to come up with some of the points that we are already putting across. You still want to have the mic, President? Yes. This is really perfect. This is different. It's something that
good, thank you very much. My comment, I just wanted to add that let the Department of Livestock Services be included, where we have other stakeholders. Because immigration, they are always interested of the individuals coming and their documentation. But the Department of Livestock Services, they are supposed to give or verify all these transhuman ECOWAS documentations. So we cannot leave them behind. In fact, in this process, they are the most important partner to put there than putting the immigration there. Okay. So I want to see the Department of Livestock Services actually featured in there, and then add any other stakeholder.
I think I'll allude to that. What he's trying to put across, we have a special line for DLS to be represented at the border post, which is very, very much important. Definitely speaking, without having them there, the immigration department sometimes, they only concentrate on the human aspect. Even though they might consider the animal aspect, but then those that come to the borders, when they are infected, it usually affects our local stock. So obviously it's very, very much important. We have a special resolution for that of DLS officers to be represented at the border post. Yes, the president of Nakova, you also want to add something to that?
This was my first argument. I said the reason of saying orders is when a department is directly responsible, you don't say orders, you should mention them.
Okay.
When you say immigration, you cannot say immigration and say orders. Why wouldn't you say then livestock and say orders? Then immigration becomes part of the orders. These are institutions that should be a standalone. They should really be seen in the document. And that I said it before, and it was when somebody else said something else.
Right.
I kept quiet. But I feel that it was supposed to be in that form.
Okay, it's fine. Then let's just either amend that part. We said livestock and immigration, because the immigration will handle the human part, while the DLS will handle the livestock part. Not so. Let's include both of them in that statement.
Say orders for livestock.
Immigration authorities and Department of Livestock. Department. Livestock services.
Yeah, Mr. Simon.
Okay, yes.
I said a few comments.
Okay, where are we? Sorry. Okay. All right, we're now going to point 3. Is it 3.7? Yeah, no water. Okay. Okay, 3.8. We urge the government to respect and support local and cross-border agreements, memorandum of understanding or laws that are in place with regards to this. And even where they are not in place, we need to adapt or formulate some to support it. 7. Where do we stop? 5, 6? 3.4. Okay, 5. We urge cross-border transhuman herders to make utmost effort to understand and respect local norms and comply properly. 3.4. Which one? 3.4 or 3.3? 3.4. We urge the government to set up briefing or awareness creation post for the cross-border herders to be briefed about local ecosystem and management regulations.
That's not what I'm saying here anyway.
Huh?
That's not what I'm saying here. I'm looking at this other book.
Oh. You are not seeing the same thing there?
3, 4, 4.
3, 4, yes, that's what I've just read.
No, this one is a 3, 5 here.
3, 5.
3, 5.
The screens are not corresponding.
Oh, okay, the screens are not corresponding. That's interesting.
It's fine. 2.4.
What do you have there?
Go 3.3, please.
3.3, sir. Go to 3.3. Up. Oh, there's it. Yeah. Okay. 3.3, we urge the chiefs, alikalos, and local communities to monitor the movement of local stock that come into their territory to minimize damage. Is it the same document?
I think maybe technical explanation. The screen that you see there is taken by that camera from this one. So it's the same image.
Minimize damage. We urge the chief, alikalos, and local communities to monitor the movement of livestock that come into their territory to minimize damage. We know the damages that they cause. Damages of the environment, on the environment. Okay, be specific. To minimize damages on the environment. Not only crops, even forest cover, huh? Yeah, on the environment, exactly. Doctor, are we okay?
Let's go. Maybe I'll see it.
Okay. What we seen here is replica of what is out there on the other screen. Yeah. Okay, let's move to 3.7. We urge the government to set early warning system that address local needs to address climate change and variability issues affecting livestock. Dr. Jallo mentioned that yesterday during his speech.
I think that's where I wanted to say something.
Okay.
Why not we also urge maybe either the department or government to assist them to have some apps that can monitor the movement of livestock. Somebody said this during one of the presentations.
Yeah.
Because fisheries has it.
Okay.
They have an app, now they'll just be sitting in the office and then be monitoring the fishing trawlers in the sea.
Yeah.
So I think if livestock could also have a similar app, they can monitor all livestock movement between the borders and even within country.
That's a smart one, bro. Are we taking note?
FAO, regional FAO office. But I think it's also going to be very important if, we are going towards, this ecosystem management. If the project could also keep into monitoring the inflow and the outflow of, transhuman herds into the country is going to be very vital in the control of transhuman in the country. Thank you.
Okay, you want to say something?
Just a quick comment from my side. Let's be realistic. I mean, in this livestock movement issue, it's not about economics. Yesterday you have said it. It's not about livelihoods. There is a lot of background issues which are involved. That's the reality we know. That's what is happening in the whole Sahel. So if we have this app, how many people will subscribe for the livestock to be monitored with this app? That's the question I want to ask. And the second one is, how long will it take for this app to be operational to give us a reliable data that we need to actually reduce the damage that this transhumans is causing on the ecosystem broadly? Thank you.
Actually, I cited an example of the fisheries department. I don't think if you need anybody to use it, it is purposely going to be for the use of DLS. It will be hosted by DLS and they will be in their offices and will be monitoring movement of animals throughout the whole country. If, for instance, they find out that from the app that animals have started coming in from the northern part, they can take immediate actions. So not necessarily that who is outside the office or the DLS can subscribe to the app. No, it has to be controlled wholly and solely by the Department of Livestock Services.
I think if I may understand the issue much, is like what is happening with regards to these transhuman activities is mostly illegal. Sometimes they come without following the normal protocol or the normal routes, right? And anything like the animals that we are talking about, if they are not tagged or if there is no, how do I call it, nothing in place to indicate they are coming in and going out, will be very difficult. For the local ones, yes, we can be able to monitor. But for those coming from other countries, it will be definitely difficult to be able to use that app to be able to monitor their movement. Unless we use satellites, that will be purposely designed for that or what. I don't know.
Anyway, I think it's a good idea. But what we should really understand is that this is a step, maybe 2 or 3 steps before that. Because that is really implementation of making sure that whatever we recommend here, that would be adopted as policy, be implemented. So for now, what we are saying is we are urging. So we are not even putting it on paper. That is, we are urging so that government can take it up and make it a policy. If government policy through livestock or another or immigration says they should monitor regularly through means, that will be implemented in a particular environment, I mean, based on the technology they have and based on this situation. I mean, we did not come to monitor ships like that. There was a recommendation and later on a policy and an enforcement mechanism. Of course, it is easy. A ship is very easy to monitor, and that is they all have transponders and they all can, when they are required to subscribe their transpondent, they have no way of hiding. But this case too can happen, but it has to be at least 2 steps from this point, or 3 steps.
Okay.
which we think, for now we are just trying to make sure we have a clear statement for government and others to follow.
That's right.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, Dr. Jallo wants to Dr. Jallo wants to say something.
What I just want to add on that point is, I think yesterday I said it, that transhuman is being militarized, is being weaponized. So what I was thinking when I mentioned the early warning system is to address insecurity and conflict promptly. The chiefs validated that statement here this morning. They say they come with their cutlasses and what kind of things. Sometimes you tell them don't go there, they even go after you and you have to run away. So the early warning system is, I think, should be geared towards addressing insecurity and conflicts promptly. If you can add those 2 or 3 keywords there, I think it will be okay, in my own opinion.
What are those words again?
Thank you. Insecurity and conflicts.
We urge the government to set up early warning system that address local needs to address insecurity and conflicts. Conflicts, right? Climate change and variability issues affecting livestock. It's okay. Climate change, leave it there, it's fine. Leave it as it is. Yeah. Just put, okay. Security, conflict. Conflicts, climate change and variability issues.
At national, at regional level, and also at national level as well.
Right.
If that is possible, because as you read through, you can see some policy dimensions, but also some program or operational dimensions in the resolutions. So for me, they are a bit, kind of mixed up in some of the sections.
Right.
So it would be great, it would be really wonderful and more focused when we dissect the resolutions into policy issues, programmatic issues, or operational issues. Thank you.
Thank you for that observation. It's a brilliant one. So now we can progress, and later we can look into that at the project level, so that we can see how best we finalize this document. As you mentioned, we look at the policy aspect as well as the program aspects in the document. Now we go to section 4. Promote land management practices that produce livestock feed for domestic livestock. 4.1, we call upon farmers, landowners, and local governments to promote further tree growing to minimize extensive movement of livestock during the dry season. 4.2, we call upon farmers, landowners, and local governments to designate and conserve communal grazing areas. 4.3, we call upon farmers, landowners, and local governments to develop local bylaws that guide the use of communal grazing areas and water resources, just like the chief mentioned in the morning. Chief, is it Chief Barry? The one who sits here? Perba, exactly. Right? 4.4, we encourage authorities to strengthen conflict management and prevention strategies at local level. This is what we have under 4. Still under 4, someone also made an observation. He said for farmers to employ local succulent grass preservation technologies. That's very, very much important as well. Right? Preservation techniques. You have that? Okay, okay, yeah. Great. That taken care of. It's taken care of. I will read again one. Oh, sorry. Land owners and local government to promote further tree succulent grass species to minimize the extensive movement of livestock during the dry season. It's been taken care of. Good. Let's go to 5. Sir? Okay, you want to say something? The floor, please.
Okay. Here's the mic.
Yeah.
I think there you have to mention specifically Lucina and Moringa. These are the one, mostly even I always tell my RFO concern about those ones. When they are doing tree planting or they are nurseries, mostly they have Moringa, but sometimes Lucina is not easy to get. And these are some of the fodder trees you can make them as a biomass for livestock feeds. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing all those up.
Also, Mr. Sanya, I think when you look around, you understand that there are a lot of grasses that idle on the street during the rainy season. I think farmers can also learn technologies to preserve this inside their homes, so that they can use it for fodder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's really important. Yeah. Some of those technologies is very key. So, pass the key to Mike to.
Thank you.
We are almost there.
Yeah, I think in my view, it may not be necessary to specifically mention any particular species because there are quite a number of fodder trees, fodder species that is in the country.
Right.
It will be left to the farmers and the Department of Livestock Services really to try to research and find what is best, what particular ecology. So the way it is now, in my view, is okay. What I would probably have liked to see is we add there that urging the farmers in collaboration with the Department of Livestock Services to do this and that, because some of the technologies are live with the Department of Livestock Services. They have to work with them to show them the way. Thank you.
Right, that's very, very much important as well. Yeah, if you want to go to specifics, it will take us more time. Like if you mention something, somebody will mention something else, that will take us long. And like to a point, by the time we are done here, we should be able to know or should come up with strategies that will help the stakeholders to know who does what. We go to 5. Promote livestock feed enterprises. 501, we call upon the government to facilitate support schemes for livestock feed enterprises. 502, we call upon the public and private financial institutions to facilitate credit schemes that are accessible by groups, example rural youth and women groups engaged in feed production enterprises. That's really important. Because of lack of feed, we always find them at unwanted places or in areas where they are not welcomed. Especially the picture we saw yesterday, taken on the streets, right? We go to 6 now. Okay. Creating enabling policy, institutions, and incentives. 6.1, we call upon the government to put in place communication and advocacy strategies to promote sustainable livestock management. 6.2, we urge the national government and local authorities and sectors to develop monitoring frameworks for enabling collective and individual responsibility for managing livestock, both domestic and transhumant ones. 6.3, we call upon the government and private sector actors to develop processing, value addition, and marketing infrastructure for feed and fodder produced by communities, while also creating market linkages and value addition schemes. 6.4, we further call upon the institutions, civil societies, and individuals assigned by the government to develop strategies for implementing, monitoring, and evaluating that can address the needs at all levels. 6.5, we encourage the government to provide enabling conditions for the private sector to provide insurance schemes for livestock and livestock owners. That's really eminent, yes? Where? Under which section? 6.4, we further call upon the institutions, civil societies. He said you are civil society organizations, CSOs. Yeah. Civil societies are organizations. Civil society organizations, right? Are the words organization. Civil society organizations.
And
CSOs.
Yes, Sanya, I will also suggest that to implement also rulings from district tribunals. Because today we have that problem here. It was narrated that a district tribunal did a ruling and the institution responsible still now is lacking on enforcing that ruling.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that should be added as well. To enforce district tribunals on transhumant issues. To enforce district tribunal rulings. Yes, yes. district tribunal rulings. We urge the government to enforce district tribunals. District tribunal, district judge, district tribunal, district judge, judgments, okay. Enforce judgments. Enforce judgment, either from district or magistrates, exactly. Enforce judgments on issues affecting transhumanant and livestock management. Okay. Yeah, now let's go to the last part. Down, up. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of the document. We hereby present the above proposal for consideration and adaptation towards a sustainable and eco-friendly transhumanant and domestic livestock sector that positively contribute to local livelihoods, national income, and healthy ecosystems in the Gambia. Do we agree to this document or not? We have all looked at it together.
Yes.
Okay.
Before we agree, I have a concern.
Honorable, you are welcome. Yes, sir. Please, can we give...
Yes,
please, those behind...
By Johnny.
Is lunch served?
Yeah, okay. I think the majority are listening.
Okay.
I have listened to the whole, whatever you have read out.
Yeah.
But once in a while, maybe I may not have captured some of the issues.
Okay.
But I want to underscore, I want to stress the need for a policy to emphasize the need for land use planning, which will take into account livestock extension systems. We have been talking about animal roaming around. This is eminent, this is important for urban areas. But you don't expect intensive livestock production in the rural areas, Sutukoba, Kuinala, and all these things. And the extensive livestock system will have to use the grazing lands, and this must be backed by proper land use planning to incorporate or to accommodate the use of extensive livestock production. Otherwise, it would not be accepted. I think that should be noted. And if it is not among any of your policies, you have to look into it, because it's something that we have to live with for the time being. Okay.
Thank you very much, Honorable, on that. Please go back to him. Can you help us reframe the statement, please? We have a statement on that. I think it should be on the 4. Check on the 4, is it? Policies. Institutions.
Yes, I think
Doctor?
Mr. Sima, who is advise you to put these recommendations in different categories or stages. Policies, programs, and what can be immediate operational things. And on the policies, I want you to emphasize I cannot give the phrase now, but something to incorporate land use planning, which will accommodate livestock extensive livestock production. A policy which will incorporate land use planning to incorporate extensive livestock production, because this is something which we will live with for a long time. Even in Europe, there are livestock extension areas where they freely move and they go to graze in large areas. All the problems we have here is that livestock land use planning has not incorporated something for livestock.
Great.
And there is no room for intensive livestock production all over the country.
Okay, I think we have a statement on that, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. We have it this way. 6 of 7. We further call upon the government to put in place land use planning that incorporate extensive livestock farming.
That's right.
Yeah, that's, thank you. Okay. They are working on land use policy. Okay. 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 Since there is work in progress, it's important we be specific. Okay. We urge the government, we further call the government through the Ministry of Local Government and Lands, to put in place land use planning that incorporates extensive livestock farming. Right. Great. Yes, Baseni?
Usman.
Yes, sir.
I want us to go back to the statement that relates to the ECOWAS protocol on transhumans. Can
Okay,
we go back there?
that would be section 3 or 4. Check it. ECOWAS protocol.
Can you read it for us, please?
ECOWAS protocol. One, we encourage the government to revisit the ECOWAS protocol on livestock movement between countries such that the protocols includes management interventions to reduce the impact of such movements.
Good. My question is, I want to find out, this is a protocol adopted at the level of ECOWAS. The Gambia is a participating member at ECOWAS. I want to ask if this protocol has been ratified at the level of the Gambia. That is something I want to find out. Dr. Demba, can you help us? Do you know?
Okay, noted.
Okay, so...
Yes, Honorable, Mike will be coming to you. Dumbuya, pass the mic to him.
No, wait. I am not done. I have a comment.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. It's good that you brought that up. Because for me, if this was a protocol, Gambia is obliged under the ECOWAS to ratify it. We are expected to ratify it. So if we have not proceeded to the level of ratification, how do we translate it into a regulation? That is something I want to ask. So I think there is a need for us to find out at the level of government if this protocol has been ratified. Because following the developments around the region, I've realized that some countries have already ratified this, but they did not only stop at ratification, they've turned the ratification document into a regulation.
Yes.
It has been gazetted, for example, the case of Ghana. So I think I would recommend that we pursue that path to really understand if the document has been ratified at the level of government before we can turn it into a regulation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. That is it.
Okay. There is a question on the floor. Baseni? Anyone wants to answer that question? Okay. Honorable wants to handle it.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Sanya. I just want to respond to.
You are next, right? You want to ask a question?
I just want to respond to the question raised by the colleague in connection to the ECOWAS protocol. At the level of the Gambia, the ECOWAS protocol has been ratified, both OAAU and ECOWAS, but it hasn't yet been domesticated to our level. 3 months ago, I just came from Ghana and Togo to look at the joint border post between Togo and Ghana. And we really lay emphasis on this ECOWAS protocol that is talking about movement of persons, services and goods within member states. But if you look at some of these countries, the level of compliance is different from other countries. Some are very compliant and some are not. So, but this one needs to be domesticated to our level, but it has been already rectified at the ECOWAS level and AU level. Right. Trying to position Africa 2063, Agenda 2063.
Great. Thank you. That's all we need to incorporate the protocol and that of the local laws. So that we can.
Sanyang?
Yes.
Again, before you go further, I also want to observe something related to the land use policy you're talking about. Most of these activities, the agricultural activities, are done on the land. And a land is a special ministry of its own in the country. And if you look at the level of encouragement, especially by estate developers, it's very alarming. Can we engage the Ministry of Land to enter into cadastral mapping so that we can have a better land planning in the country, where we will have land preserved for agricultural, land preserved for industrial, and land preserved for residential. So if we can partner with the Ministry of Local Government to make sure that this cadastral mapping is done, to our level at the National Assembly, we're doing advocacy to make sure that they engage the UNDP to make sure that this cadastral mapping is done, without which it's going to be impossible for us to have the real land preserved for these activities to be conducted.
Thank you very much, Honorable. But I think I understand what Mr. Jammeh is saying. ECOWAS has a lot of protocols. There is this protocol also on transhuman. Is it the one we are referring to, or the protocol on free movement of persons and goods? Which one are you referring to? Because the immigration is applying that of free movement of persons and goods. But are they applying the protocol on transhuman, the 1998 transhuman? This is the question. And that's what we need to review and align it with our local, blah, blah, blah things. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor, for bringing that up. 1998. Yeah, 1998 ECOWAS protocol on transhuman. Let's try to take note and then revisit that.
All right. I mean, I am not going to be the guy who will stop the debate.
Okay.
That is really the MC. But again, I think this is great. I mean, there is no doubt. We now know who to go to when it comes to ideas and also ways to get what we are talking about today implemented. So essentially what I would suggest is that now that we have completed the text, we need to do a few other things. There are those who will also have to go back to their various places. But in any case, the text, even after we incorporate all the comments here, it will be shared among, and hopefully we would follow up with a set of committee that will ensure that it is taken all the way to the highest level, so that we can see parts of it implemented before the end of the project. Because these are things that are not easy. They are going to move to the next level, which will be perhaps all the way to the cabinet before a policy document can come out. So it's not done yet, but I would say so far we have done very well, but we need to move to the next level so that we can also complete. Please.
Okay. Can you?
Sorry. Thank you. Mr. The last paragraph, the very last paragraph, that is submitting for consideration. I think we need to be a little more specific there. We hereby present the above proposal for consideration by who?
Sir,
that last paragraph there. We hereby present the
we further call upon the government.
No. We hereby present the above proposal for consideration and adoption. To who? We have to be very specific here. Who's for his consideration as adoption? I think it's very important. If we don't have to imagine that it's going to go there or there, let's be very specific here.
Consideration adoption. We hereby present the above proposal for consideration and adoption. To who?
Since the Ministry of Environment is the parent body, I think these are situations where you have to incorporate them. You don't only say government. when you say government, it becomes a bit broad.
Open, yeah, right.
Yeah, since the parent body is Minister of Environment,
yeah.
maybe you can say Minister of Environment and other stakeholders. But then the Minister of Environment would have to lead.
And other line ministries, right?
Yeah, and other line ministries. Minister of Environment have to lead. Yeah.
We hereby present the above proposal for consideration and adoption to Minister of Environment and other line ministries.
Yes.
Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Natural Resources. Climate Change and Natural Resources. And other relevant line ministries, right? And other relevant line ministries towards a sustainable and eco-friendly transhuman and domestic livestock sector that positively contribute to local livelihoods, national income, and healthy ecosystem in the Gambia. Is that what you're looking at?
Cooperation between sectors, I guess. What I had wanted to add there was, I mean, the cooperation for, the monitoring and also for sharing of information. Because if you cooperate to either generate information, that information should also be shared. Because you who is responsible of monitoring, for example, the issue of the livestock came, and maybe immigration, I mean, doing the monitoring and taking the information, that should be shared then with other relevant stakeholders. I don't know exactly where it appeared, but I was something like that. And that's when I came to suggest that we go step by step.
Okay, it's here already. We encourage enhanced collaboration among the various stakeholders at the border to regulate transhuman activities and share information. Yeah, thank you. And share relevant information. Okay, I think that will bring us to the end of this session. We now, what do? Do we go for lunch first and come for close, or close and go for lunch and disperse? We close, right? Okay, now for the closing, I think let me just call on the following. The list is there. Yeah? Okay. No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we wait after lunch, we do our comments.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, that's why we said Ministry of Environment and other line ministries.
I think we can go for lunch and then we can come back after lunch to close this ceremony.
Okay. Now that will bring us to the. Huh? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to ask this question. Do we accept or approve this sent to the relevant ministries, Ministry of Environment and other line ministries for endorsement? In this gathering, do we approve or endorse this resolution? If we do, please let's show our hands. If we do, let's show our hands. I'm still not seeing some hands. All right, let's give a round of applause for ourselves for this brilliant job. Yes.
Huh?
Excuse me? Okay. Is there anyone who moves this proposal? Is there anyone who moves the resolution rather? Okay, anyone who, how about those that approves it? Those that approve it, once again. Someone moves it and let the others approve it, please. Let's show our hands again. Okay, thank you. Let's clap for ourselves once again. All right, now we want to call upon the following people to come to the high table to give closing remarks. For the closing rather, to give statements for the closing. Honorable Mamadou Cisse, Chairman, Parliamentary Select Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development. Honorable Cisse. Okay. Honorable Silla, please. We learned that Honorable Cisse is not in the room. Honorable Silla, please. Next we have Alaji Sanyang, RA for Forestry. Alaji Sanyang, sir. Next we have Ibrahim Jalo, President Nalowa. Mr. President, where are you? Mr. Jallo? Okay. President Nakofak. And Farmer Abaji, Farmer. Farmer Abaji, you are welcome. It's closing. We're giving each at least 3 minutes to tell us, yes, sir, to tell us a word or two. Yes, sir. Okay, a lady, any volunteer? Fajiba. My table, please. Yes. Okay, don't worry. Fajiba, please represent the ladies. Thank you. Okay. We're giving each one 2 minutes to give a closing, to make a closing. Okay, you will come last. When you're done, then you just give a closing statement, okay? All right. If the boss talk, the others will follow. Okay, we're going to begin with the only lady on the high table to make a statement. Come on, don't worry. Yeah, just say a statement that you think suits this gathering. Take home as a take home message. We just want to take a second. So Mr. President, you go first. It's your show. We are in your hands. Save us.
Okay. Then good afternoon. Mr. Chairperson, I raised my hands to make a comment, but then my hand was not seen.
Sorry for that.
Before you pass the resolution, resolutions are very important documents, and then we expect at the end of the day they are going to be implemented. But to my surprise, Mr. Chairperson, the EBA project have worked very hard, very hard in organizing this Congress and coming up with these resolutions. And here we are directly affected, Mr. Chairperson. We were expecting at the grassroots to consult the farmers, especially the herders, than just having 2-3 people representing the National Livestock Owners Association across the country. It will be very difficult, Mr. Chairperson, just to accept it like that. But I know we are not many, but we cannot actually change anything. But it was an expectation from the national body. Actually, we will have consulted each other. We will talk like other countries are doing than this other thing. Apart from that, Mr. Chairperson, we definitely acknowledge and then appreciate the discussion that happened here these past 2 days. And this will definitely help, Mr. Chairperson, in the way and manner of controlling our national resources, our animals, and even the people. Because we are all crying, Mr. Chairperson, nowadays. The peoples are crying, the environment is crying, and the animals are also crying. But in this particular gathering, all fingers point at the farmers level, that's with the national livestock owners. And this particular events will definitely give us all the things that we need to make sure that the animals are also protected, but the environment also will be protected. So I don't want to waste much of your time, but really we'll appreciate it from EBA. Since the inception of these particular programs, the national farmers bodies are there. We discuss these things together, so that at least at the end of the day, things could have been get better. But all the same, we support the document, but I think from here again, more consultations will be done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for that brilliant and wonderful statement. It's a take-home message that we will definitely look into. Next, sir.
For me, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. This gathering is long overdue because today the whole world is crying for food security, climate change, global warming, environmental degradation, blah, blah, up to sustainable development, and of course, migration. So these are global challenges. The world is a global village. If others are solving their problem, I think Gambia also should take the lead. And we have started the journey, and it will go forever and forever and forever. But my concern is, let us try to target the younger generation, because changing mindset is never easy. So Gambia today, we need to look inward and not outward. We have only 2 million people to save their lives, their food needs, and the environment. So in that connection, people like us, because success comes from ideas. For me, I don't believe that Gambia with money we can develop, but Gambia with ideas we can develop. And we can only generate ideas when they come together, share these forums like this. So our contribution today is not for us, but for the next generation. So let us come with things that would save the country from going backward. 65 years from independence, the journey was long, but still we owe a lot to the next generation. So because of that, if you look at climate, environment, food security, they are all connected. This is why we are now advocating for climate smart agriculture. So on that note, I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baji, for that statement. My brother Alaji.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the EBA project for coming up with this conference. Because as we all know, from the Department of Forestry, as Chorno mentioned in his presentation, we are mandated to protect and manage the forest resources of this country. And EBA project and other projects has a big ambition of restoring the degraded forest cover. And of course, we cannot achieve this without addressing the issue of transhumans. Because we all know that the animals move within the country and some move up, across the cross-border. And all this will affect our crops and the trees that we are planting. So even if I can give an example, this year when we were to start tree planting in the agroforestry fields in Manduari, one of the farmers raised this question because he said, but our animals are free. So if we start planting now, that means these animals will eat all the planted seedlings. I told him, yes, you are right. But these are your animals, and the plants we are going to plant are your plants. So you should think of how best to protect them. And in protecting these young seedlings, it will bring big cost to the project. EBA has done it for the 2018 tree planting by providing tree guards. But this is very, very expensive. And it will also bring cost to the farmer also, in the form of labor, because it means if the tree guards is not provided, they have to improvise it. And this will require them to put some labor. And even the ecosystem that we are restoring, when they are to provide their local fence, it means they have to go to the forest and cut some trees. You see? And most of the time, the trees they cut are valuable tree species, like even tericapos. And you'll find out that they will cut those trees in the aim of protecting the planted seedlings, and this planted seedling may also die. So it's really a challenge for us, and as earlier speakers mentioned, the transhuman activity is on the increase. It's increasing in the country. So that means it is timely that EBA came with this Congress to make sure that we bring all the stakeholders to put our heads together, to come up with concrete resolutions that all stakeholders will go by to make sure that we reduce the negative impact of transhumans in the country. And this is going to help us to restore our forests. Because the objective of community forestry, where we are doing most of our restoration, is to provide a grazing area for the farmers. So in doing that, it means we have to manage how these animals will move. Just like what Yankuba said, in the regions, we can do very little. What we do is to sensitize the communities, to sensitize the herders, to make sure that since planting is done in one part of the forest, so the herders should try to avoid those areas to allow the trees to grow. So on that note, I said I thank the EBA project for coming up with this important congress.
Thank you very much, RFO Sanyang, for that statement. We really appreciate it. I will now hand over the baton to our only lady on the high table. She has been trying very well yesterday. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay. Now you take the floor.
Okay. I say thank you to EBA.
Laura.
I say thank you to Eva for organizing such conference, but we're pleading to them as youths to include us more in their project. To include us more in their project and also have their project to be implemented in all the regions, because I believe all the regions are being affected, not only in the regions that they're working in. I will also encourage them, if they can add businesses in their project, which will encourage